people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. And also, the Middle East would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. It would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. But it did happen. So this is the cards I've been given. And we're getting the hostages back. That would have never happened under Biden. They would have never come back. They were just dying not that slowly. They were dying or being killed. But that was what was happening.
So are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
The European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying because under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying, and a lot of those countries weren't even paying. The NATO countries, they weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying. We were one of them. And Poland was one, and they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually, the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
Did U.S. President Xi, in your conversation about Ukraine, you asked him to get involved in helping settle that. Can you tell us about that?
I did, yeah. I said, you ought to get it settled because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said, you ought to get it settled. We did discuss it, yeah.
Mr. President, you launched your crypto coin the other day. Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
Sir, you talked about the letter from President Biden. Can you give us some sense, broadly speaking?
Yeah, he wrote me a nice letter. I mean, I did open it last night. And I didn't know. Peter said, did you get the letter? I said, wait a minute, let's see the letter. It's sort of a tradition. You put it in the drawer, especially of the beautiful Resolute desk, right? And I opened the drawer, and there it was. It said to number 47. And it was a very nice letter. I mean, I could show it because I think it was a nice letter. Maybe I will. I think.
What do you say in terms of
Just basically, it was a little bit of an inspirational type letter, you know. Enjoy it, do a good job. Important, very important, how important the job is. But I think it was a nice letter. I think I should let people see it because it was a positive for him in writing it. I appreciated the letter.
Mr. President, were security concerns at all a factor when deciding to move your inauguration indoors?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It was just cold. Look, if we would have, you know, I just went out to the helicopter, right, we said goodbye. That's a tradition. As long as before it used to be a stagecoach, and then helicopters came along. But that's been a tradition. You go out and you do that. And we stood there for 10 minutes, and I'll tell you what, people would not have been able to get through that day. That was cold. It was sort of interesting. Don't let the sun fool you. Tell me something. Sunny days can get very cold, can't they? Because that was so freezing yesterday. You couldn't have gotten through it. It would have been. And the answer is no, it wasn't security. With that being said, I thought the Capitol, the Rotunda, in an opera house, I could see people wanting to do it there rather than outside.
why did you remove John Bolton's security clearance, sir?
Because I think there was enough time. It's we take a job. You take a job. You want to do a job. We're not going to have security on people for the rest of their lives. Why should we? I thought he was a very dumb person, but I used him well because every time people saw me come into a meeting with John Bolton standing behind me, they thought that he'd attack them because he was a warmonger. He's the one that got us involved, along with Cheney and a couple of others, convinced Bush, which was a terrible decision, to blow up the Middle East. You know, we blew up the Middle East and we left a lot of people. And John Bolton was, one of those guys, a stupid guy. But no, you can't have that for life. You shouldn't expect it for life.
That meeting that you mentioned with President Zelensky, will that take place here, and when and where will you meet with?
I don't know. I mean, look, President Zelensky would like to have anytime they want. I'll meet. I'd like to see that end. Millions of people are being killed, and they're being killed. It's a vicious situation, and they're now largely soldiers. A lot of people have been killed in the cities. They look like demolition sites, buildings, massive buildings bombed and coming down. The thing with Ukraine is that many more people died than you're reporting. You're not reporting the real numbers, and I'm not blaming you for that. I'm blaming maybe our government for not wanting to release those numbers. Many more people died than what you know about. When those big buildings come down and they say 2 people were injured, no. Many people, thousands of people are being killed. But the real killing now is on the war front. It's a very flat land, and the only thing that stops a bullet is somebody's body. And you have young soldiers. So Russia's lost about 800,000 soldiers now. Ukraine's lost about 600 or 700,000. I think the numbers are low that they're giving out. But they've lost massive numbers of young soldiers. And that war should stop. It's very flat. You know, it's beautiful farmland, and it's flat and really beautiful. Any protection. The only thing that stops a bullet is a body. And those bodies are stopping a lot of bullets, and they're being decimated, both sides.
Your conversation with President Xi, what did you tell him in terms of when to expect tariffs, and what can he do to avoid them?
About which one? About tariffs? We didn't talk too much about tariffs, other than he knows where I stand. Look, I put large tariffs on China. I've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Until I was president, China never paid not 10 of tariffs. And if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a steel mill open in the United States right now. You wouldn't have one steel mill open in the United States. So what I did is I saved the steel industry. I saved other industries too with other tariffs. Other countries are big abusers also. You know, it's not just China. China's an abuser, but the European Union is very, very bad to us. They treat us very, very badly. They don't take our cars at all. They don't take our farm products, essentially. They don't take very much. We have a $350 billion deficit with the European Union. They treat us very, very badly. So they're going to be in for tariffs. It's the only way you're going to get back. It's the only way you're going to get fairness. You can't get fairness unless you do that. But the European Union's treated us very badly. But essentially, everybody treats us badly. You know, everybody treats us badly. Yes, go ahead. Because we allow them to. Because we've had stupid people doing this, and we can't have. I'd like to have these 3 people negotiate for us, just for 1 week, and we'd be a rich country again. But we'll be rich.
Mr. President, on AI data centers, will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands?
On which centers?
On data centers. Will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands for data centers and energy production?
No, I wouldn't do that. That sounds to me like it's something that I would like. I'd like to see federal lands opened up for data centers. I think they're going to be very important. Again, we have a lot of competition for that. So it's an honor to have these 3 great people, great CEOs and great geniuses, all 3. It's an honor that they want to come to our country, but we're going to make it as easy as we can for them because other countries want them to. I'm going to have to go now. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Do you have TikTok on your phone?
No, but I think I might put it there. I think I'll get it right now. By the way, again, we won the young vote. I think I won it through TikTok. So I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I was trying to not ask too many.
Lisa,